Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's start off with the Carly and Nina scene because I can't even believe I'm saying this. So, Nina actually humbles herself and she acknowledges all the stuff that she did in the past was wrong. She apologizes for the way that she treated, not just Willow, but going after Carly and making it Carly's fault for why she had a terrible relationship with her and Willow. She owns up to that. She's very humble about that, and she does ask for her help. And I sat there and I watched it, and I'm like, listen, as much as I don't like Nina, given how this woman is, how she loves to distort reality to fit her own needs, I was like, you know what? She's being humble and she's genuinely asking for help. And she genuinely seemed like she is apologetic. And Carly is just like, wait, that's it? And I'm like, wait. Carly, listen, it's not like I'm not normally on your side, but I'm like, it took a lot for her to do that. Carly is a very proud woman. So you can only imagine if she was in a situation like that where she had to humble herself and really own up to the stuff that she did and genuinely apologize and to have somebody else sit there and be like, oh, well, is that it? I was like, wow. I mean, granted, I get it. They go back and forth, tit for tat or whatever, but I felt like that was petty on Carly's part, right? She's like, listen, I need help. I need to sit there and she talks about how she wants to have a relationship with Willow and her reasons why and everything. And she asks for her help. And Carly says, yes, I'll help. I'll help you out. I'm like, okay, wow, that's cool. That's getting her some, that's building a bridge or whatever. And I feel like that can only go up from there. Carly's idea of helping is basically Snitcher saying that if you have a relationship with her, I won't stand in your way, but I won't advocate for you either. Carly, you do understand the reason why she came to you for help, right? She came to you for help, and Ava was sitting there coming to you for help to advocate on Nina's behalf. And you practically sat there and said, well, I just won't stand in your way. Whatever happens, happens. Really? That's it. That's. It was almost like she really sat there for a good few minutes, 13 something minutes, pouring her heart out, um, pouring her heart out, humbling herself, taking an L. Because let's be honest, as much as Carly doesn't like Nina, Nina damn sure don't like Carly. But she is trying. And to sit there and be like, that's the best that you had is like, well, you didn't even need to call her over there for that. You could have just saved that all that with a text. Be like, listen, I help you out, but I won't sit there and actually help you out. So is that good for you? Because that's literally what you want up doing. So at that point, Nina was like, "Yep, I tried," and started going after her again. There was at one point she almost slipped up and was like, "See, it would force me to do," or she said something that was about to slip her up, but then she changed it around and she was like, "Well, good luck with good luck with the feds or whatever, the SEC," and then she just walked out. And I'm like it was just one of those things where it's, I mean, granted, towards the end she started to distort reality a little bit, but I gotta be honest, and that whole scene, I was actually on Nina's side. Don't get me wrong. Carly was right about everything. Like, listen, at the end of the day, you caused this whole ripple in your relationship to happen. This is on you. This isn't on me. And I guess some people can sit there and look at it and be like, you know what? It's not my job to sit there and fix your mistakes. It's not. Like, I understand you asked me for help, but given our history, doesn't mean I actually have to do it. Now, does that kind of make me a bad person? Eh, it depends. I don't owe you anything as far as fixing your relationship. And so I can understand that part. Of course, I will sit there and go back to the fact when Willow was in the hospital, she should have sat there and called Nina. So, kind of a weird thing that I'm actually on Nina's side in that, and let's be very clear, in that instance, in that scene, in that instance, that one pocket in time, it is what it is. Okay, so I plan on talking about this first, but I was like, you know what? I feel like that would just. Okay, this whole scene with Sasha was just difficult to watch. Um, Watching the producer and Haven, Figure Morechild, whatever the hell her damn name is, being all happy and everything, like turn up the volume. It was just difficult to watch. This wasn't a fun scene to watch. Okay, and the whole scene was bad. And it's not, it's one of those things where it's like I thought about this morning. One second, I thought about this morning, and I understand the idea of pushing boundaries, pushing the envelope, making more daring kind of content, being a little more edgy, I guess. But this is one of those things where it's like it went too far. Like there was nothing. I mean, granted, there was very little of value to actually gain from watching this scene, if anything. And I get that it's very difficult to sit there and write some of this stuff and to try to make things fresh. But this is just one of those. This is one of those times where it's just like this was just not fun to watch. And yeah, on the flip side of that, as much as people cannot stand Cody for reasons that I still do not understand, even the people that don't like Cody gotta sit there and give him his props for coming in there and getting that baby noise or whatever to stop by sitting there saying, listen, I will go out there and I'll make sure that the FCC will be on your asses. Okay, make sure y'all get a big fight. I'm about to sit there and strip up in this piece. And he was about to do it too. And after everything was over, Sasha was like, listen, I'm going to contact my lawyer. He walked out, and Cody threatened that producer and Haven. Even Brooklyn acknowledged, because even Brooklyn saw what Cody did. So even for the people that don't like Cody, you got to give him his props. Overall, and granted, it was just uncomfortable. Like certain things they can't account for, right? Things was happening in the real world, and they had the whole target practice with the guns and stuff. And some people were upset about that. But you can't predict that, right? You can't predict when the next thing is going to end up happening. And then there was the scene with the Holly, Holly burning or whatever, right? And granted, I'm not going to sit there and name any names, but some people were upset about it. So they're saying that ABC needed to apologize to them. I'm like, no. Certain things like that can be accounted for. But that, I felt like, here's the thing. If I was uncomfortable watching that as a man, I can't even imagine to think how uncomfortable that was for a woman. So when I sit there and say it went too far, not to harp on again, but when I sit there and say it went too far, it definitely crossed the line. And I just don't see anything that was gained from it, personally. So Robert barged in Anna's place and started acting like a dick. Here's the thing. Your heart may have been in the right place, but you're not her father, okay? And to sit there and start telling her about what her priorities are was a big misstep. It was one of those things where it's like, listen, bro, I love you, but you need to sit there and know your place. You don't start chastising her about her decisions. I don't give a damn if they're married, they were married, they have kids or whatever. I don't care. At the end of the day, that is Anna's life. She gets to decide what she does and how she moves in this life. And you do not have any right whatsoever. And I repeat, you do not have any right whatsoever to sit there and start telling her what to do and what not to do. It's not your place. Stay in your damn lane. That chastising scene was just beyond annoying. Um, and then afterwards, all he did was sat there and practically whined about two women that he couldn't decide on who he wanted to be with. My whole thing is like, it's just ridiculous. Um, I don't know who I should be with, and honestly, tell you the truth, like I said, his character has been pissing me off. Now Diane is sitting there talking to Alexis, and for a little bit, she was sitting there wondering should she had given him an ultimatum. I'm like, no, you do not regret that whatsoever. Because at the end of the day, you have pride in yourself, and you should have pride in yourself. You're an accomplished lawyer. Okay, you have curves for days, and you're generally a good person. So no, you shouldn't have to be sitting there competing for anyone on their attention. Don't you dare even regret that for a second. Holly is in there with Felicia, and at some point, Holly, for some odd reason, comes over to the table, is like, "Hey, can we join you?" Now, in my head, I'm just like, no. You can take your little ass right back over there and have your little chat with your little school friend. But Diane was like, no, let's do that. So those two start talking. Felicia and Alexa start talking about stuff that really was not important. I mean, does anyone actually care about Alexis's, um, her interest in her newspaper? Like, does anyone actually cares? Because I don't get her. Um, so, Holly comes across as overconfident, talking about, oh, I don't want you to get hurt. Oh, you don't want her to get hurt. That's cute. You don't want her to get hurt. That's a good one. That's wow. And Diane just lays it straight down for her because apparently she's a little kind of slow on the upkeep. She says, "What makes you think that this is going to work around, like that this is going to work this time as opposed to, I don't know, all the other times that y'all two try to get together? Y'all on opposite sides of the law, and you need to sit there and be real with yourself." So with that being said, she's like, "Yo, I'm not gonna sit there and compete. Like I'm not doing this whole back and forth thing. You need to sit there and be realistic about yourself about if you can even make this work." And she walks away. And at some point, Selena and Holly start talking, and Robert, who was talking to Anna about who he should pick, and talks about how Holly is very dodgy or whatever with the law, sees those two having a conversation. So what, you just gonna pick Diane out of what, a consolation prize? Because I'm not gonna lie, if you really pick this woman out of a consolation prize, you are 100%. Robert at that point would be 100% total trash. Period. Um, Gladys is sweating bullets at this point, and Miss Wu's like, "All right, so how you gonna pay me? We're like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do to work this out?" He's like, "You know what? Listen, I got something better than money. I want you to sit there and practically find out what's going on with Sonny, his information and stuff like that." She's like, "Oh, I don't really know what goes on. He doesn't even like me, and I just, I'm gonna keep out of it." So I'm just like, Gladys, all right, so let me get this straight. You don't want to sit there and take the money from Sasha, which you shouldn't. Um, but you don't want to sit there and give her information where she feels will be equivalent to what you owe her. So at this point, Selena's like, you know what? You know what the problem is? Maybe I've been too patient with you. He's like, listen, I'm gonna sit there and take it from you, or I'm gonna sit there and take it from Sasha. So now at this point, she's threatening Sasha's life, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't I don't really think that she cares that much. I mean, let's be honest, she didn't really care when Cyrus was, um, practically threatening his life when she sold Deb out. When she sold Deb out, yeah, Deb. When she sold Deb out, so I don't really have a lot of high hopes for her loving Sasha. I just don't. I mean, hell, she didn't care about her own son at one point. Why the hell should she sit there and care about Sasha? Which again, she finds out from Sasha. Overhears that Sasha is that they're telling Brooklyn and Lucy, that she doesn't need the guardianship anymore. So now she doesn't even actually have access to her money to be like, hey, I'm going to override this. I'm going to take your money. I'm going to pay off this debt. And so now she doesn't have that. Uh, Not gonna lie, I kind of feel like that's about it. I can't really think of anything else that wound up happening. So it's like this nagging thing in the back of my head, like something else happened and I'm missing it. So as I always do, sit there and say, if I did miss anything, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're gonna be sitting there turning up tonight. Okay, we're gonna be sitting there talking about all the shows, YNR, Days, B&B, GH. We're gonna get into it. So, yeah, I said that 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. To come through, I want to thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.